Nonfiction can kind of seem like a dirty word when talking about children's books, but not when you're talking about Usborne Books. Usborne is actually known for being a nonfiction publisher, and our nonfiction children's books are so interactive and so much fun that your kids are not going to think about like what they're learning. They're just going to be enjoying the books. So there's a ton of nonfiction books. If you want specific recommendations or a specific interest in, let's say, trains or planes or weather, or whatever it is your child is interested in, just let me know and I will pull up some books specifically for you. I'm just going to give you a very broad overview of our children's nonfiction books. So one that we kind of enjoy in this house is 1,000 Things to Eat. This is a nonfiction book insofar as it's not even a story. It's literally just lists of food with pictures on nice kind of cardboardy pages. What I love about this book is that I can sit down with my kids and we can just kind of flip through it, and my kids will be like, oh, let's see, kidney beans. Oh, kidney beans. I've had kidney beans. I like kidney beans. Or we can talk about, let's see, my kids have had a lot of different things. Oh, okay, so quince. We've never had a quince. We could talk about like where they come from and what kind of foods they're in. We can go online and look up recipes that include quince and maybe go to the grocery store and try to find a quince. So this book kind of lends itself to a lot of different activities and that kind of thing. But it also is kind of a cool table, like coffee table book. Like people pick this book up and they're just like, cool, you know, looking through it. All different types of fish. Like, this is a really, really fun book. I know people who have used it as a way to get picky eaters to eat more. Once they try something, they'll use like a little pencil and just write check mark if their child liked it, or an X if their child didn't like it, or the child's initials, you know, if you have multiple children. It can be used in that way. So this is a cool kind of list-style nonfiction. We have a whole line of my very first nonfiction books. This is my very first space book. It gives you kind of a way for little children to find out about space, begin talking about space. You know, where do you start with when a young child, say a 3 or 4-year-old, asks you about like what are the planets and what order they go in? And this kind of gives you a starting point to talk about that kind of stuff. If your child is interested in that. And again, this has nice thick pages, simple illustrations with accurate but not overwhelming amount of information. So then my very first castles, my very first space, it's a bunch of different ones. So this is a good one, a good series. We also have a really cool series of nonfiction books. Our Shine the Light series. This is Shine the Light. This is on the train. There is Apple Tree, Rainforest, lots of different ones. But the coolest thing about this book is that as you're reading the nonfiction information about trains, in this case, you can hold the picture up to the light. Now, of course, I can't get a good light behind me. And something will shine through. I will be posting here in the party a video of how Shine Light books work, which is a lot more clear than me showing you right now. But the pictures that's on this side shines through the picture here, which is really cool. And kids will spend a lot of time with this book and learn a lot. You'll learn a lot. I'm still learning things from these Shine the Light books. They are very sneaky with how much information they put in this little innocuous kind of small picture-y looking book, but it's really, really, really informational. So I recommend these, and I will, like I said, post a video that shows how they work a little bit better. We have tons of Lift the Flap books. There's been studies done that show that children retain information better if they have some sort of physical thing that they need to do to get the information. Not just our kinesthetic learners, but all learners help to retain information if they have to physically do something to achieve it. So this is a first question and answers book. This is How Do Flowers Grow? So it's got lots and lots of flaps. This one's cool because it opens up in 4 directions. About how plants and flowers grow. It also has a little bit of other touchy-feely elements and big illustrations, peekaboo holes. So this is for the youngest crowd. Question and answer books, Lift the Flap books, Finger Trail here. But lots of good basic information about plants, like what does pollen do? That's a question I can totally hear my 3.5, almost 4-year-old asking. So it travels down a tiny tube and makes seeds inside of the flowers. A simple, basic answer that's accurate, informational, and will help answer those why questions that kids really have. So this is a great one. There are a whole line of question and answer books, and I tell people all the time, the question and answer books, I swear they took the questions right out of small children's mouths and answered them in a way that made sense to children, but was still correct and accurate. So that's awesome. The Look Inside line is kind of the next level up from that in terms of our Lift the Flap books. This is Look Inside Your Body. So it's got information on bones and muscles, staying alive, eating food, your brain, your senses, growing and healing. It's got nice big flaps with a little bit more information than the last Lift the Flap book that I was showing you. It's really, like, this is a double flap, which is cool. So this part flaps up, this part flaps up, and then there's yet another one inside of there. So very, very cool. The kids will learn a lot from it and spend a lot of time with it, but it's an age-appropriate amount of information about their body and simple, understandable illustrations. So that's cool. The next level up from the Look Insides is the See Insides. I wish I had See Inside Your Body so you could kind of compare them side by side. But with me today I have See Inside How Things Work and See Inside Weather and Climate. So again, these are on the next stage up. They have a little bit more information per page. So you see all the little paragraphs instead of sentences. And, but again, flaps so that they can find. So this says there's weather on other planets too. On Jupiter, there's a storm that's been going on for over 100 years. It's called the Great Red Spot because that's what it looks like from Earth. So I didn't know that. So I just learned something right now. So it talks about climates all over the world. Lots and lots of cool flaps. Lots and lots of information. These books are super invaluable if you're homeschooling or if you have a child who isn't quite grasping the concepts at school or is ahead of what they're doing in school. These are great ways to kind of answer those more advanced questions that they have about weather or how things work. Like I said, my daughter is not quite 4. She'll actually spend a lot of time with these books, even though they're way above her age level. With my husband, they'll sit down and he'll be like, oh, and then he'll kind of like filter the information down for her level. But we have books for every level. So again, tell me the age of your children, what they're interested in, and I can find the book that will fit for them. Just let me know. We've got lots and lots of nonfiction titles.